Welcome to another DK Custom Products video. My name is Kevin, this is Dwayne.
And today we're going to talk to you guys about how Harley screwed up.
Several riders around the country say they've been thrown off the trikes in violent, sometimes deadly accidents.
Broken pelvis, broken clavicle, broken ribs, and a broken sternum.
Tell us they have experienced identical brake failures with
catastrophic results.
Now, it's one thing if, you have an accident on a motorcycle and it's your fault. It's another thing if it's someone else's fault. But what if it's the bike's fault? Now, before we get started, I'd appreciate if you guys would like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
So we received this email from a customer of ours in England, and it's quite interesting. And before we get into it, well, let's just read the first part.
This email comes from George. He's in England. And, he starts off talking about how he loves the comfort lift. And, but then he proceeds to say, on another note for Kevin, on his 1,000-mile trike review video on YouTube, he described an issue. One of his comments on this issue was that the trike plowed when turning, and that it would be a matter of time before it caused a problem for a rider. Well, I am one of those riders.
So let's take a look at that video real quick. A weird thing I've experienced, and that is when I'm put on the rear brakes hard and make a turn, can just be a swerve like that, to get around a rabbit or a turtle in the road or a pothole, or making a turn into a driveway. Something very weird happens. It was quite surprising the first time it happened to me. I've talked to quite a few other people with 2019 Tri-Glides, and they've experienced the same thing, and it surprised all of them also. One day it's going to surprise someone, and they're not going to react well to it, and there's going to be a problem. And I believe that Harley will end up changing whatever algorithm they're using to make this happen. But here's what happens. You're going along, it can be 15 miles an hour, it can be 30 miles an hour. You put on the rear brakes hard, and when you do, the front end all of a sudden feels like it's plowing, and it actually feels like the handlebars are trying to turn the opposite direction that you're trying to turn. And when I say it tries to feel it literally moves that front wheel the opposite direction than you're turning. That was 2 years and 4 months ago that we made that video.
Right, and you had only had your trike for a couple weeks, and it's 1,000. You had 1,000 miles, hence
right.
The title, 1,000-mile review. But this is an issue you noticed, right off the bat.
Oh yeah, I mean within the first few days, and I tried to replicate it, and I was able to replicate it 100 times out of 100, and that's why I made the video. That's why I put it in the video. It's going to cause a problem. And the problem that George had is not a happy one. So
no.
Go ahead and read what he said there.
So George went through, a chain of events. He said that I had a recall notice. The Harley dealership under warranty carried out the software check and stated now was all was okay. I never used the trike after that was done, and it is now winter. So
before you go any further on the letter, what happened was I did that video that Harley's going to change their algorithm because something's wrong. And a few months after that, I don't know, 5-6 months after that, Harley did issue a recall. And you asked me if I've had my bike trike in for the recall. I have not. I know what it does. I know what the problem is. I've not had my trike to the dealership since I picked it up.
Okay.
But he got the recall notice, and he did take it in, and they did the recalibration. But then he didn't ride the trike because it was winter over in England.
Right, and then this happened. At a slow speed coming out of where I had parked, and it started to pull to the right, and it felt like the rear wheel was locking and pulled it further to the right as I was moving. To compensate for this pulling to the right, as my trike was moving slowly out of the parking space, I turned to the left, and it tipped over to the right onto a parked vehicle, with myself being lodged between the trike and the vehicle. Not good. Trike was taken back to the Harley dealership for repair, but due to COVID-19 and parts supply issues, It was a year before I got my trike back. $13,000 worth of damages to the trike. Upon receiving the trike back, I was very apprehensive to say the least, because I felt when it was new, it had all the issues just as you described in your video. This trike, when I got back after repairs, is a totally different trike to ride, all for the better, but without your videos and the upgrades that I have done, I'm now 100% satisfied with my trike. Personally, I do not think my trike, when we're called, got the appropriate software check, and there was a bit of confusion when I questioned the matter. At a later date, they said that the software had been updated, but the man who did it had since left. Harley UK and Harley Edinburgh did reassure me that when they did the accident repairs, they would double check everything which I asked for, having then lost faith in my trike.
Wow. Here's also a little note from George. I didn't go to the hospital to get checked over, much to my wife's annoyance, but just before lockdown, I was admitted to hospital with problems stemming from the accident. So he had the $13,000 worth of repairs to the trike, plus he ended up having to go to the hospital. And this is because on the 19 and I think the 20 trikes, the early 20 trikes, when you go to turn, if you have your brakes on hard, it's going to try and turn the other way. And they did recalibrate it, so if you do get that recall done, make sure that they do it right, because he had the recall done, then he had the accident. They didn't do it right the first time.
Right.
But Harley has acknowledged problems with trike braking systems. In November of 2019, Harley issued a trike recall, saying there could be unintended activation of a single rear brake, which could lead to an unexpected change in vehicle direction, which may increase the risk of a crash.
So that's some crazy stuff, Dwayne. I know you've just ridden the trike a few times, and you told me you felt it felt weird to you, like it was going to tip over.
Yeah, totally.
And this guy was going very slow in a parking lot, and he tipped over.
Right.
Want to go ride the trike right now?
I mean, I would, but I'd be a little apprehensive, just like George.
Yeah. But it sounds like he got the recall done. They didn't do it right. We're not naming the dealer. After all of his repairs, getting out of the hospital, and waiting a year, right? Then he took it back again and had them redo it. And he actually watched them do it. And we'll put up on the screen. He actually sent us screenshots.
Yeah, he made sure it was
He
done.
made sure it was done right the second time. And since then, he's been really happy. But again, just an update to the 1,000-mile review where we said that this could be happening. It did happen with George. Fortunately, his insurance covered his repairs on his trike, and he didn't get hurt that badly, although he did have to spend some time in the hospital.
Yeah, never good. So if you take anything away from this video, if you're a trike owner, 2019 or 20 model, be mindful so this does not happen to you.
Yeah, get that recall done, which I have.
If any of you guys have experienced a similar issue, please let us know in the comments below, and y'all ride safe out there.